Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to the Next Level Podcast. My name is Brandon Kumarasamy, founder of Master Talk, and I'm joined by my incredible colleague and friend, Kasi Pandian. He's one of the world's leading experts in data engineering. He's been in the space for quite a while, and he's had an amazing technical IT career spanning the cross of many international teams in many different places. First of all, Kasi, I'm so grateful for you, grateful for our friendship, and I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Brandon. It's great to be here. I'm super grateful for this.
Of course. It's great to have you. I've seen you on so many different podcasts, and I just love your energy. I love the way that you share thoughts. And this goes into my first question for you. So obviously you're somebody who's in data engineering.
Yes.
And just speaking into that, you're someone who leads a lot of data engineering teams.
Exactly.
My first question for you is, what do you find are some of the 2-3 leadership principles that you feel are important for data engineering leaders to know about when they're inspiring their teams and when they're getting their technical talent to move on projects and deliverable?
Wow, that's a great question. And especially leaders, right? Today, it's like everything is data. Without data, we cannot live. And again, we are going towards an industry where, the Gen AI and again the artificial intelligence, it's doing amazing things. It's the core heart is like data engineering. So the leader should know. Definitely, it's not an olden days, right? Managers or leaders can just like that they take people and again people does the work. No, it's changing actually. You should know the basics actually. You don't need to be a master in technical, but you have to be knowing the concepts, like the basic things, the basic things like how the data is being organized or managed, or what is the sources. First of all, we need to understand there are terms like data engineering and data scientist. So this data engineering is core heart of the data. So basically, we should understand the distinction between, how we are organizing the data and managing the data. And again, leadership, when it comes to leadership, it's like, again, it's same like every leadership does. How humanity you are, how empathy you are, you become a good leader. But when it comes to the real thing, so you have to be a good person. And data industry side, I would say, there are so many areas, we can look into it. And I can say from a data perspective, as a leader, they should know the basics. And they definitely, they should know the basics. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Absolutely, Kasi. And you touched upon so many important principles there. You talked about the importance of empathy. You talked about how data was going to be, and is continuing to be, very prevalent in how organizations think about data management, data engineering, so that they can pull business strategy and insights from them and really create magic in the conversations that you lead with executive teams. And building on this, what I found fascinating about engineering leadership is it's such a fascinating area of leadership where I find a lot of the developers, and I want to hear your perspective, a lot of software devs, a lot of people who are very technical, they tend not to respect leaders who are not technical. So how do you bridge the gap between, in a leadership role, between being technical, but also being a leader? Because sometimes with a lot of the people I've seen, if you're not technical enough, they don't respect you. They're like, this guy doesn't really understand the system. And so when they're interacting with other business units, they're going like, you don't know anything about this. And how do we also lead? Because sometimes the engineering teams, like you've led, are like 100 people. How do you think about bridging that gap?
So that was a great question, Brandon. Yeah, that is the practical challenge, So how we can bridge it between the developers versus the leaders. So what I see, definitely, if we are not if we don't know about what is data engineering concepts, it would be hard to lead the team. Same time, like developers always respect, like if you know the things. So what I used to say is like leaders should know things, but how we can engage or like how we can link the bridge is something like
Take your time, Kasi.
yeah, like
So just building on that, just to repeat, you talked about some great points that I really loved around bridging the gap between leadership, bridging the gap between technical teams. You talked about how the lower level people, you're right, like they don't really respect sometimes, but love for you to continue. Go ahead.
so it is like the developers, right? Like always they think from the solution perspective, and again they don't address the problems, and again they always think that like they think only their problems. But again, as a leader, we cannot go in that way. We have to see in a 1,000-foot view or like 10,000-foot view what's going on, and we have to make them comfortable first. Like by if you have that knowledge only, you will be able to make them comfortable. And again, first we need to impress them. Like even I know things. It is if we don't know anything about data, it is like leading people. It would be hard. Like you'll be getting a hard time with them. And again, it's basically you have to ask your developer is like, hey, this is what I need. You should not tell that this is how you have to do it. Like, but you can ask them, okay, this is the problem. How you do it? Like, in that way, like they will get a space. So once they know, okay, there is something, I have a space over here, I can implement something over here, then definitely they will be in your game. So that's the key point. Wherever we go, it's not only for this industry, wherever we have to give a space to the people who all are under you. And again, you have to value people. So once you prove that, people will believe you. And again, they follow you. And again, after that, like it's like whatever you say, they will, do it. Like, yeah.
mean, that was brilliant. I totally agree. Because the advice that you're sharing is so simple, but it's so misunderstood by technical teams and technical managers, especially those who are new to the leadership role, is really just instead of saying, hey, this is what you should do, is how do you think we should approach this technical problem? Right? How do we, and that nuance that you drew was so cool. So I'm just curious, I need to ask you a follow-up question on this because I just loved your answer. And the follow-up question on that is we start the relationship that way. We keep that tip throughout the cycle. Now I want you to speak to a manager, an IT leader who is doing that very well. So they implement your advice. What are some tips and strategies that you have for the maintenance of that relationship? So for example, after 3 months, I would do this, or after 2 months, or here's another thought on that, but I just want to hear more tips from you, honestly.
It is like, it is like be open to people. Like, say once you started working with them, it is not that like a one-way communication, right? Like it's a two-way thing. And again, you have to be open and honest. Once you be open with like, what is the problem we are approaching? And again, if we are going to give an answer and we get perspectives from them, like, and we have to make them accountable. Once we make them accountable, and if they are truly believing you, definitely it would be an easy way to, take care from there. So it's like make them, taking an action will be the main key point here. I would say my teammates, like we have to approach it from their shoes, and once they are believing in it, then we have to give some, like we should not, they should not think that like, like we are just taking work from them. Like meanwhile, we have to help them to upskill and again move forward in their career. So if we do it like, then everything will be fall in place.
Absolutely agreed. I mean, Kasi, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. I love the way that you think about IT leadership. And I think there's so many other nuggets that you're going to share with the world. And by the way, I'm just saying this, guilty as charged, and I'll say this on the record. I love your LinkedIn content.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your top voice badge on LinkedIn. I mean, impressive work. Your followers are increasing so much. And I'm so grateful you took the time to be on this show. So thanks for being on.
Wow, thank you, Brandon. Like, it's such an honor to have a podcast like that. And again, I hope like I deliver something to the community. So that's what I want to do, and I want to keep doing it. And thanks for your support. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.